Violin has become my life in a sense. I've been playing since I was 6, been performing I'd say since I was 10. I started busking at the Forks when I was young. I'm teaching every day. Each student will pose new obstacles for me, whether they're 3 or 63. I'm like almost like a sculptor when I'm seeing one of my students play, and like I can adjust little things with it. Just a small change of their bow hold of a finger, something can make all the difference.
Was there a moment where you weren't so serious about it?
Growing up and stuff like that, I think everyone deals with sometimes with some bullies here and there or whatever, and just worrying about what other people think was something that I thought about. Get a bit nervous sometimes when it's something that outside of my comfort zone, but that's something that I think is so important, that you have to be kind of fearless in a sense, where I'm going to learn something from that. If something doesn't go right, or if it goes wrong in a sense, I'm going to learn something at least from.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tool for Us podcast, aka the #1 podcast in Winnipeg, where we document the rise and stardom of Winnipeg's talent and personalities. I want to say a huge thank you for everyone tuning in. These last couple of weeks have been amazing for us, and they're getting better and better. A lot of music-based things coming up, and today we're going to start it off as well. We have probably the best violinist in the city, and probably maybe Canada, and potentially soon the world. Please welcome Allan Palmer.
Thank you guys.
Hey.
Thank you. That's a nice intro.
Did I say that right? Violinist?
Yes, sir.
Or
yeah.
violinist?
Violinist.
Yeah. Okay. So you play the violin.
Yes, sir.
And you have a violin here for us. Can you play a riff real quick? Like to start it off? Like,
yeah.
I'm sure you get this a lot. Hey? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Different things,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to play some more later. I got some new music coming out to Spotify soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Some stuff later.
That's impressive, bro. Okay. So we were talking just before. I don't know. Like, do people say that violin is one of the hardest things to learn?
Yeah. That's what they say. If you look up online, that's what a lot of people say. They say it's the hardest to learn. And but when I teach it, I make it very fun, very personal. I'm all about catering to whatever the student wants to learn, the kind of style of learning and stuff like that. And so I kind of adapt to it, and I make it, very enjoyable to learn, and it's a fun process.
So why do you think people say that it's the most difficult?
Well, because on the violin here, you have right here where you put your fingers, and like, every little millimeter wherever you place it will make a different sound kind of.
Okay.
And so even if it's just slightly off, it sound like a wrong note in a sense. And then on top of that, you also have your bow, and you have to control that. And there's a lot of different, I think it was like my paintbrush when I'm playing, like there's all types of different strokes and different types of, vibes that you can bring out sound wise and stuff while I'm playing.
And so you have to be very particular in terms of where, and so like learning, like to master the skill of violin, what's the learning curve of learning violin? Like, do you start off and you're like, oh, I got this. And then you go, oh, wait, no, I don't got this.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get it? Or what does it look like?
It really depends on every student. I've taught so many different students of all ages, and, their abilities always amaze me. Like, I've had some students really be able to learn whatever they want within like a month even. And they're able to get really the good sound and play the songs they want. And, it's really impressive. Some people take a bit longer. It depends how much you're practicing and how much you are motivated to learn too at the same time.
So let's give an overview picture. How long have you been playing violin?
Yeah.
What's your kind of role? How are you involved in this world?
Yeah. I've been playing since I was 6. I started when I was 6. Been performing, I'd say, since I was 10. I started busking at the Forks when I was young. And nowadays I love performing for events of all types. Like, I do birthday parties, weddings, funerals, nursing homes, bachelorette parties, corporate events, anything that you can think of. I love to perform a lot and cater to the style of whatever event it takes.
Yeah. And then you also do teaching as well.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And so what does that world look like as well? So are you doing all ages, certain ages?
Yeah. So my youngest is actually 3 right now. My oldest is 63. And so it really ranges. I have some, like the 3-year-olds that I have a few 3-year-old students, and they actually some of them pick up pretty quick. And some are still squeaking away at Twinkle Twinkle a Star, but I enjoy teaching every single one still. And the 63-year-olds and the older students, they're just as fun to learn to and teach.
That's so interesting to me that like, and real question, do you love doing this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
When I perform, I love just the entertaining aspect of it. I love seeing people really enjoying my music and seeing people get up and wanting to dance, singing along, or seeing people pull out their phone and getting videos of me playing. It's always a really neat feeling when I'm performing. And same thing as for teaching too. It's always a very fulfilling feeling as well. Like I'm currently working towards my student recital is next week. And that's always a great feeling. All the parents coming by, and I get to meet a lot of them, or some of them that have been there already at the last recitals and stuff like that, and they get to see all the kids perform, and it's always a really cool feeling.
Yeah. So you say you started this when you're 6?
Yeah.
So what did that look like? Did someone hand you a violin? Did you naturally get drawn to it? What do you remember at the age of 6?
Yeah, I saw the Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
No, it's a very famous musical.
Sure.
And it was they performed at the concert hall when I was 6, and then my mom got me involved in violin lessons following month. Started just at music store along McQuaid, and then I drifted off into private one-on-one instruction, and I worked through with a variety of teachers, and then eventually got accepted to the orchestras, and worked my way up to getting accepted to the music faculty at U of M. Yeah.
So yeah, we were briefly talking about that as well, and like the difference of worlds of like classical, jazz, and the thing. But I do want to dive in like the journey of at 6-year-old, like, you know, at 6-year-old, I was doing a bunch of stuff. I was playing soccer. I was wanting to be an astronaut. I was wanting to do a bunch of things. And I definitely had hobbies. I definitely had certain things that I was put in, even things that my mom put me in. And like, hey, you're going to go do figure skating. Did I become a figure skater? No. But that's something that, you know, I was just put in. And so how did you learn to like love it? Or was it like an immediate, you were like, oh, I like this?
Yeah, well, I liked that it was something that made me very unique in a sense, you know, like I didn't know a lot of other people that were kind of doing that when I was in middle school. Like I was known as like that violin guy, like playing violin. I'd bring my violin to show and tell and play for the classes and stuff like that, which is what a lot of my students do now. And so the fact that just made me unique, and then being able to post that on social media and kind of stand out in a sense, I've always enjoyed that. And just hearing compliments and stuff like that, playing for people at the Forks and different things like that.
How much were you practicing like during that time? Was it just something like once a week, going to classes? Like
when I was young, I definitely was doing, I'd say 30 minutes a day.
Okay.
Least. And then, you know, as I got into more teenage years, that's when I started to slow down a bit, and I kind of stayed a bit more static. And then leading up to the music faculty, it was like I had to get really serious, because I actually got denied to them a few times beforehand before getting accepted. And so I really had to crack down and practice for like around a couple hours a day to get stronger.
And do you remember some of your first like trying like early age? Is there videos of you picking it up and just squeaking away at
there's some videos of me squeaking. It's like that. But you know, I something that's I'd say around the age of 8 when I was young, even when I see videos of me of when I was around 8 years old, I still would play with good amount of passion and energy always. I loved making music for my instrument and stuff like that.
Is that a large part of playing the violin as well? Like the rhythm and like the way that you play?
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah. Like, you know, playing with expression, I think is part of the reason why a lot of people book me for events. It's like that when I play, I really get into it. I love moving around lots, and almost dancing while playing at the same time, and just feeling it in my body while I'm playing.
Damn, bro. Could you explain, like, we were talking to you earlier, like I was like, I've touched a violin, but I haven't really like felt and know what a violin is. Do you mind like explaining, like explaining what a violin actually is, and like how, what parts of it, like break it down?
Sure.
Like if I were to break this down into like almost like a lesson, like what would you say?
So, you got 4 strings here. You got G, D, A, and E. And as you can hear, they each make a different pitch. And when you put your fingers down on each string, and so it kind of has a different sound as you walk up. The bridge here is kind of what holds that together, all the strings there. And when you play your bow, it's very important that you bow right in that center area. Over here, you get a different tone completely. The same thing if you go too close to the bridge. Be very mindful before you play, things like that. But eventually, with enough practice and enough skill, it'll just become like second nature, and you will, you won't even have to think. But like, so it's in the middle. It'll just feel really easy to you. Yeah, that's
sick. Sure. Okay, so what do I do? What do I do?
Let's see. Let's get this on your shoulder first. Right here. So that's what's on there is your shoulder rest.
Okay.
You already got the good hand position there. You had a good start, and then you want to make sure bring that thumb right there. Good. And then these fingers kind of bent over like that. Good. Okay. I'm gonna give you the bow. You want to relax this hand here.
Oh shit.
Bring this thumb on the bottom.
Yeah, this kind of what he's doing.
So there we go. Good. Now let's try this A string here. Nice.
Wait, okay, hold on. How much pressure are you putting there?
So just a little bit. Oh, needs very little bit. Needs a sliding. Oh, that's a little bit. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You try this now. So you can do A. And then bring this one down. Oh, right there. First two. And then take it off. There's you hear that? A little bit of twinkle, twinkle, little star for you.
Damn. Bro, you give me 6 years, you're not going to have a job.
Yeah, put me out of business. No,
I'm kidding. Bro, that's sick. Okay, well, first of all, great teaching. You know, I have my stint in education as well. And like, I understand what it would be like to someone that doesn't know a concept at all.
Yeah.
And to break it down, like, bro, I felt good.
Good.
I felt good.
That's the goal. I want everyone to feel comfortable when they're like learning. You know, I always tell my students, like, ask questions anytime. I'll have an answer for you on that. And then when I'm teaching them, we start at Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just that you just did there.
Yeah.
And we work through progressively harder pieces and they just new skills along the way. Damn. We go. And then my goal is I want them to be able to play what they want as well. I want them to be able to learn songs that they enjoy, that keeps them motivated to practice.
Yeah.
You know, because if they're not playing things that they enjoy at all, they're not going to want to practice, and therefore they're not going to get any better.
Was that a similar arc for you as well?
Yeah. Oh, the Phantom of the Opera, the musical I saw when I was young, that was some of the music that I wanted to learn first, like on the violin. Yeah.
And then, but did you start off? You didn't start off.
Yeah, well, I brought that to the teacher, and then he said, "Oh, it'll be a bit, it'll be a few months." But I grinded through my Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and the exercise he gave me, and then I'd say after about 4 months, I was able to play that on the opera team. Yeah.
Well, and you said you were like, pretty consistent, like 30 minutes a day, just kind of grinding it out.
Yeah.
And then, when did you start like performing? Like around town?
Yeah. So like the first performance I did was that next year I did at the I did the theme from Spider-Man at the gas station theater when I was 7. So 1 year later after lessons, and I remember that was a really scary performance because you're backstage, it's very dark, and that for my first performance ever, you have to walk out on stage with a big spotlight on you, and so I know how nerve-wracking that can be for some of my 7-year-old students and stuff like that, and my young students. I always get a few students that they're settled with are really nervous and shaking up beforehand, and so I was trying to keep them comfortable and know that I went through the same thing, and but yeah, so. And then busking at the Forks, I'd say, is when I was around 10. I went and got my busking license then, and so I liked the fact that people were throwing money in my case while I'm playing violin. I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. Who knows, I could make money while doing this too. And and then I'd say I really only got extremely busy with performing, I'd say literally just in 2021.
Damn, so much later.
Than usually having your case open for money and if you'll throw in money in. But it's busking now, like when I travel to places like in Europe, I'm happy to just play and just have people take videos as they're walking by, you know, and then the money on the side was just a bonus paid for whatever meal I got in Europe.
Yeah. Damn. And so in Winnipeg, we got a great group of people in Winnipeg, but there's a wide range of, emotions that go through our city, especially downtown. Do you have a story of like moments when like maybe someone put your first dollar or someone put your first things, or a moment that stands out from that little instance? I know it's early, but
I'm not sure if I remember exactly. I think it was just as a whole, people putting money in my case. As a little kid, it was really neat. I was buying Slurpees with that money. I was saving at a piggy bank and stuff like that at a young age already. And and then I'd say I just kept grinding through that, and I started teaching around 16.
So was this your dream? Like, is this what you wanted to do, or was there something else that you were like, okay, I want to go do this?
My original, I'd say, goal, which kind of drifted, I really enjoyed playing the violin, and I want to kind of make a career to that somehow, and just in music in general, because I enjoyed playing other instruments as well while growing up, and but when I was teaching when I was 16, my original goal was to open up like a big music school and have other teachers working for me on other instruments and stuff like that. And I think that's still a goal someday to do. But then when I was 21, so it's 4 years ago now, that's when I started getting really busy performing and entertaining at different events and stuff like that. And I learned I'm having so much fun with that as well. And so I want to keep chasing that at the same time, and then just teaching on the side.
Okay. And then, let's fast forward a little bit here. When was like your first big performance that you were like, oh wait, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this right now.
And let's see, my first big performance, I'd say, I was playing, this was when I was actually just about 15, I'd say, and it was for the Asper Family Foundation at the convention center. So it was about an audience of 2,000. I was playing with other musicians, and they had dancers around me, and I was at rehearsals, and it was just a really neat kind of vibe, all the rehearsals leading up to that it was a very choreographed event, and dancers dancing around me while I'm playing the violin. I thought that was a really neat thing. But lately there's been some really big foundations I've played for. There was the Ronald McDonald House Foundation I played for recently, and that was really cool. And I got to play beside a live painter while she painted, which is a lot of fun. I think that around my age now and the stakes are getting bigger and stuff like that. And I think that the events I'm playing for are becoming more large scale. And that's my goal. I want to keep raising that bar and playing for bigger events. And
do you get nervous, Allan?
Good question. I think I still do here and there when I'm driving there, when I'm driving there, and a little bit of nerves. And then once I start playing and I see people enjoy it, I just kind of just enjoy, I just make music, and I know I'm entertaining people, and I can see people are enjoying and stuff like that. I do get a bit nervous sometimes when it's something that's outside of my comfort zone, but that's something that I think is so important that has what's led to me getting a lot more of these gigs, is going outside that comfort zone and doing gigs that I didn't know what would be like, I've done so many weddings now, I don't get nervous for those anymore because I know how those go every time and stuff like that. But playing for a bar or playing for just different things that I haven't done yet. There's things that you have to be kind of fearless in a sense, where I'm going to learn something from that. If something doesn't go right, or if it goes wrong in a sense, I'm going to learn something at least from it,
Is this the traditional route, or is in music there's a traditional route of okay, you're going to go play an orchestra, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Would you consider the route that you're taking a traditional route, or are you paving a way a little bit?
I wouldn't say necessarily. I'd say it's to get a music degree and then possibly to go into an orchestra, I think is a bit more traditional. Just keep on leveling up, playing classical maybe. And then, as I'm playing for these events and making more and more connections, which is what's leading to getting more gigs, it's kind of like I'm paving my own path as I've gone,
And do you enjoy this side more?
Yeah.
Or do you have dreams of playing in an orchestra, a large orchestra?
I love playing in the orchestra. I played in the Winnipeg Youth Orchestras from the age of 10 all the way till 17.
Okay.
And then I did the U of M Symphony from 17 to 20. And so I love playing in the orchestras. They're a lot of fun. It is a lot of work though, and a lot of practice, and a lot more time consuming because you have to show up for rehearsals often and stuff like that. While when I'm doing these solo events and playing for weddings or parties and stuff like that, and I'm learning music that they want, I just get to rehearse in my own time and stuff like that while I'm playing.
Could you explain the grind that it took to be in an orchestra?
To be in the orchestra. Yeah, I mean, well, to be shut down, because my original big goal was to get accepted to that music faculty at U of M, and so I was denied a few times before getting in because the chances to get in there are so slim. I felt, they told me it was 3 in 12 or 3 in 13 when I was auditioning. And to get really serious about that and then finally get accepted was a really good feeling. But yeah.
Where was there a moment where you weren't so serious about it?
I'd say around those teen years, I kind of just relaxed a bit. I wasn't as motivated to practice. I felt like I was comfortable where I was at, but I did a lot of the work, and now it's just about learning new music. I feel like a lot, and I'm still continuing to get better. I still take sessions at the U of M once a week, actually, with one of the professors there. Because when I'm doing the weddings and playing Ed Sheeran and Elvis, it's like that, as much as I enjoy playing them, it's not really enhancing my skills, I feel, as much as learning in harder classical music. So I still see the professor there to get my skills sharper and
Okay. You don't have to answer this, but why do you think they rejected you?
I just don't, because I wasn't at the level at the time. That was when I was 17, 18, and 19. And the first time I thought I had it just where I was already. And then in a year to that, I thought I had it still. And so it was it's hard lessons to learn. It doesn't always work out the way you want. But I kept chasing that goal of getting accepted, which I eventually did. but then I eventually left, which is kind of funny after through, you know.
Did you ever think of quitting?
In the process of getting in? No, it took me 4 tries to get in, and the third time I was just like, I'll work harder next year, you know, type of thing. And I continued teaching. I was really enjoying at the time growing my teaching business each year. That was a really cool thing. I was getting more and more students and everything like that. It was actually, when I first started teaching at 16, I only had 3 students for that first year. And I was really enjoying that, just that it was my own thing. And I went to like every door in my neighborhood, actually. I just put my business card in everybody's mailbox, and I gained like 3 more students from that. Damn. And now I'm at 50 students a week, I'd say. Last year I did 70 a week.
Wow.
And, yeah, this year I'm at 50, just because I'm performing a lot more.
All year round though?
Yep. I'd say, well, the school year.
The school year. Yeah. Damn, 70 kids.
Yeah.
A week.
Yeah, about 10 a day. Yeah.
Damn. And are these private lessons, semi-private?
Yeah,
or
one-on-one sessions, yeah. Some are online, some don't even live in Manitoba. Just have found me like through social media outside of the province.
So what is the world of like building a business been like?
Yeah, well, that's been going off all the social media stuff, and the way I'm looking at it now is building up my performing self as a business as well. Like I'm like, so something that I got coming out soon is just going to be, it's Allan Palmer Violinist.com. I'm launching a website with that, and then it's just going to be all teaching and performing all in kind of one portal. And I'm planning to expand with that and launch like music lessons and workshops. I'm going to teaching with like professional videos that people can listen in on and stuff like that.
Does it ever get like, I don't know, do you ever be like, oh, I've heard so much violin today, like you're the 10th student, I love you to death, and I know I'm gonna help you.
Every student kind of poses its own challenges. The ones that where I kind of get a little bit tiresome with sometimes is when I can just tell if a student doesn't want to be there. So I look at it as like a challenge. Okay, how do I make so that student wants to be here? We could just do some fun violin songs today. We don't necessarily have to work through this next hard classical piece. And then I also get some students that are crazy motivated, and they practice like crazy, and they're sending me videos to my phone and they're like, look what I did today. And I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. And I'm excited to see them next week because they're getting better so fast.
What, and like when you say like the kids don't want to be there, is that because the parents put them in, or is that just something like?
Yeah, I'd say it's partly a big part of that. Sometimes the parents just throw them in as an activity. Or sometimes it's even just like if some of these students, like it's they have a rough day, as simple as that. And so there's been sometimes with some students, which I really like, where they've literally told me about like bullies at school or different things that's really throwing them off, and maybe something that they don't feel as comfortable telling their parent, that they feel really safe and comfortable telling me, which means a lot sometimes.
I think personally that was like a huge eye opener when I got into education.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, like you trust me a lot, and you want to share these things with them. You almost build like a friendship.
They look up
these
to you.
kids, and they're like telling you all the tea, and they're telling you all these things. And like, it's entertaining, but hey, like appreciate it. I work mostly with high school, so there's a lot of drama that goes on.
Very cool
in high school.
Okay.
But, it was great that like you, even a moment that I didn't even think is that crazy. Like I'm teaching you a chemistry equation. I'm teaching something to me that is not a huge deal. But to them, they're building a connection with you, and you have such an impact on these kids that that they will remember you for a long, long time after. Do you remember some of like the coaches or teachers that taught you?
Oh, of course. And I still keep in touch with some of them. Like I said, I've worked through a variety with teachers, and they've all taught me different skills, not just with violin, but as a person too. The way they speak, the way that they teach, that I've utilized with some of my own students. I can tell when a teacher is very passionate about their job, and so I know that how much of a difference that makes when in sessions, when the teacher's just as passionate as the student is.
Do you have a story in the sense of when you were learning violin that you're maybe sticks out to you, and you're like, hey, I remember that. I remember when I conquered that piece. I remember when I played Shape of You. I remember when I was I remember when I was able to get this little piece going, and like it felt like such a big win.
Well, I'd say that Phantom of the Opera was a big one when I was young, because that was one of the big reasons I started. Now it's just a matter of completing these big, massive violin concertos, like these giant classical pieces. They can get pretty like dangerous sounding, and they utilize your crazy skills altogether, and they require a lot of focus and stuff like that. And it almost feels like a sport to do those in a sense, you know?
So what do you mean by that in terms of it requires specific, is it just the way of the way that you move your hands?
Of course.
Break that down.
Well, yeah, if you ever see me performing at some events, I'm usually not playing one of those. I've from experience, when I've played some of those at events and like that, they don't necessarily always get as much applause as some of these Ed Sheeran Shape of Views and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, so they it's a lot of finger dexterity, finger stamina.
Gotcha.
And you know, just skills of how I talked about, as you go up higher up the violin here, notes get tighter and tighter, in the sense of how I was talking about here, a little bit of space, a big difference. Here, fingers are practically overlapping and stuff like that as you move up higher and higher. And so when those harder pieces go that high, you have to be really careful where you're placing your fingers. You have to know the pattern, the distance your fingers have to travel, all the more careful.
And then are you reading sheet music?
Usually I like to learn it from the sheet music, but then once I know it well enough, is go off, leave the sheet music, and I really like to just feel it and close my eyes, know the piece well enough that you can just relax, and you know, that's the ultimate goal.
Can you play stuff off of ear? If you hear something, you're like,
usually,
I can
usually, especially if I can hear the violin cover of it. That's I was saying. Sometimes when I'm learning songs for a wedding, a special request for something, I'll listen to another violinist, how they did it, and then I just get some ideas, and ears able to pick them up a bit easier than if I just hear the vocal line. But same thing for the vocal line too. I mean, I'll pluck along, figure out what key they're in, and then I'll find the sheet music for that key. Learn that.
When did you always have that skill? Did you come from a musical background?
No, I didn't. Nobody in my family actually plays.
Really?
I think that the musicianship course, that one I told you about at U of M, where they were playing the chords, and you're like, what's this note? what are these 6 notes right here I just played? And that definitely trained my ear quite a bit, I felt. But also I think it's just violin's become my life, in a sense of I'm teaching every day. I hear violin notes. I know how to fix certain things every day, and it's hearing that every day has made me be able to hear what note is being played at what time. So that's why listen to a violin cover of a song helps a lot.
And you probably have an ear for that as well. Yeah. Right. Just similar to the way a basketball player has a touch.
Yeah.
Or they know the way that, the ball rolls off the finger.
Yep.
You probably had that with your hearing as well. Oh, I can tell something's going on.
Yeah,
here.
exactly. When I knew right away when you're holding it, you're using too much pressure at that bowl while you're holding. And so it's an immediate fix. I'm very to think I'm almost like a sculptor when I'm seeing one of my students play, and I can adjust little things with it. Just the small changes their hold of a finger on something can make all the difference of how they're holding it, and be way more relaxed all of a sudden. And so I have a good eye for what needs to be fixed right away as soon as one's playing.
Have you ever had a student where you're like, can't fix it, brother?
I don't know. I've had some where if they're just relentless, they don't listen. Let me just give it another shot. And I have to arc it again, and they lose their fine. It can really differ. I think for the most part, I've been able to fix pretty much anyone that's come to me with problems that they've had. Because I've had some students where if they learn from somewhere else, or if they were self-taught from looking off of YouTube videos, and then they want their techniques fixed, or that they don't know what's wrong, will come to me and they're like, what am I doing wrong here? And I'm able to help them all the time, with their vibrato might be, or their finger placement, if they're just not relaxed enough in their shoulder, and things like that.
You mentioned that you work with a wide range, 6 to 63. Is it harder to train someone that is maybe older, because that they're already accustomed to maybe certain things that they've already done, and there may be the way I think about it, from a science perspective, your brain's more plastic, or plasticity when you're younger, and you're able to adapt and do more things easier, versus when you're older.
Yeah,
is that true?
I wouldn't say so necessarily. Like I said, I love to just cater to whatever this how their learning style is, and stuff like that. So each student will pose new obstacles for me, whether they're 3 or 63, and the goal is just to overcome that obstacle, help them achieve what their goal is. If it's as simple as just learning an Ed Sheeran song or whatever song that they want, then I'll make that happen.
Are there days when you're just like, hey man, this is a job? Do those days get to you? Of course you have those high moments, and you're like, okay, I'm performing. All the kids finally got it. You're working on this song forever, and then finally gets it, and then you can see their smile. You feel that, you reciprocate that. But then there's other days you're like, I'm just clocking in here. Like, do you have those days?
Like, I'm just clocking in. I would say, like, I mean, I've told people, like, oh, I have to work today. I have to work or whatever. But it's never just felt like clocking. It just feels like my duty to fulfill, almost, like to come home, make sure my students are taught for the week, and then go on about my day.
If you weren't doing violin, what would you do? What would you do?
I don't know. I saw a Balinese healer in Indonesia once, and he told me, like, he went, like, closed his eyes and, like, told me that if I should be in law. So maybe that.
Okay.
But music's always been a big part of my life. I did jazz bass as well. I did flute and concert band. I learned cello for a few years too. Viola. And then in the music faculty, you have to learn piano and some voice work as well.
Was there anything specific that drew you to the world of music?
Not really. Nothing particular. It drew me to the world of music. Just, like I said, about feeling unique in a sense was a big deal. Something that I just felt like also the ceiling's so high for, you know, like I feel like the ultimate goal would be I'm selling out arenas at the MTS Center or being able to travel the globe and perform for big sold out crowds. And it's like, that would be the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm. And do you think a lot of people that come into the world of music have a similar goal?
No, I think a lot of people, like, you can enter the world of music anytime. Like a lot of adults in their 30s or whatever, they, violin's their first ever instrument. They've never learned anything, not knowing how to read sheet music, anything. And so, you know, them entering the world of music, it can just be as just simple as that. I just want to learn a new instrument. I just want to try an instrument. I've never learned one my whole life. Yeah.
How transferable is the technique of playing the piano to other instruments?
I think piano trains your ear really well.
Okay.
And I think that like your note reading ability too transfers. Like, you'll know what a B is, you'll know what a D is, you'll know what different symbols mean and stuff like that really well. And I do notice, like, a lot of my students that did piano before learning violin, they tend to catch on pretty quick. They move through things pretty quick.
And you've got the opportunity to travel the world with this thing. Like, go out and play in crazy crowds, beautiful locations as well. Of like sunsets going down, and I'm like, oh, this guy's romantic vibes. I'm like, okay. When was like the first moment where you're like, oh, I'm gonna travel for this. I'm gonna go somewhere. I've been invited. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go do something.
Yeah, well, it was literally just us, me and my family going on vacation, and then simple as that, and then me whipping up my violin to film some really nice music videos, like with the sunsets or the nice landscapes in Ireland or in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris and stuff like that, and just bring my violin with me wherever we went, and just this looks like a nice place to shoot a music video of a song I'm working on right now, or a song that always gets good applause from audiences and stuff like that. But you know, then some led to gigs out there too. Like you were saying, like in Ireland, I was just busking on the street, and I was generating a big crowd in front of me on the street. And then the police actually came and they said, "You need a license to busk here. You can't do that." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll put my violin away." And people were booing and stuff like that. And then the owner of the Temple Bar was right nearby. That's like the world famous bar in Ireland. He then invited me in to play a set for his packed house in there. And so I was like practically shaking a little bit before then, but it felt such a good feeling. I could see people stomping their feet through the stage and it's like that, and me doing some Irish fiddle on the violin for people in there. And then I think that what people found most interesting is because they hear so much fiddle, like in Irish jigs and stuff like that, that then when I came up there and I did, was it Bella Ciao? Despacito? It's like that on the stage. They went nuts. Like they were like, oh, I've never, didn't the violin could do that, you know? And so that was a really cool moment. And they were just so accepting of all genres of music out there. Because I was a bit worried. I don't know so much Irish fiddle that I was worried that they wouldn't take it too well. Me doing something, but they loved it.
Well, what's going through your mind in that moment? In that moment, you're like, oh, I'm being called in. I don't like this. Is a good thing, is a bad thing.
I was really nervous leading up because like there's a lineup of people outside like to get into that place, and for me to then walk past them, I could feel my heart pounding a little bit. And then once I got on the stage, people started cheering as soon as I just walked up there and smiled at the crowd. I was like, okay, I'm glad they're giving me a good response. And then I pressed play on the track to start, and then it was history. They went nuts, and I get into it. I'm going right up to the front row of that crowd, and I'm like getting in there with my violin. It's like that, and I'm like this, and I'm like making like jumps, expressions at them. And then that's something I then took to my performances here, which gave a really good response to my performances in Winnipeg. Because but if I didn't take that job, then I wouldn't have learned that.
Yeah.
So.
Do you get approached by the police a lot?
No, I wouldn't say so. My uncle was of course, my uncle was pretty high up in the police service.
Okay.
And I played for he actually his wife had passed away, and then I played for the funeral, the celebration of life there for that. And so there was like a ton of police officers at that funeral, and so I got to meet quite a few of them in there. And they all said they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like overseas, and like you mentioned the police.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Is that something that happens often?
Not necessarily. I know that in some of those countries, like you need that busking license or whatever. But as long as you're understanding something, okay, then you move on about your day. They're not going to give me any trouble.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous? You're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and like maybe someone's going to pull up.
Well, I could see like I remember like there was 2 police cars like pulling up there, and they're just like talking in their window while I'm playing. One of my songs, I don't remember what I was playing.
You're like side-eyeing.
Yeah. I'm like looking over. I'm still trying to make it look enjoyable while I'm playing, and I'm like, and then when they got out of their car and slammed the door, walking over, I was like, oh, okay. I turned the volume down the track and brought my violin down, and then it's just simple as that.
Yeah.
There was one time when I was playing in Ibiza, there was a guy selling things, and he was giving me a bunch of trash because I was taking his customers away off the side of the street, all leaving him to watch me. And then he comes over and he's like, look, no good. And he's like, trying to take my bow off the string actually, and stuff like that. And so I didn't try to cause any commotion.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I guess, yeah.
But yeah, no, they've all been learning experiences. Every performance I do, I feel like I'm one level higher, which is why going to a performance, especially in performing, it's never felt like a job in a sense. I look at it as like a one step forward to getting towards another goal. It's another set of 200 eyes that get to see me play, that now know I play violin. And you have to really kind of be fearless, and I try to take any gig I can. If I'm available on the day, I'll want to be there.
When did you start adding that expression piece to it? Like because now when I see some of your videos, man's expressive. Man, going.
Okay. Well, I'd say that's never changed. That's something that's been with me since I was young. Like I've always played with a lot of big sound expression while I play. But there was sometimes where I did an event and just playing just that solo violin and expression off to the side and playing classical music wasn't enough. And so I'd say around that 2021, which is when I started getting crazy busier, when I'm actually walking around and going up to people, serenading people in their seats, making people get up and dance to my music and stuff like that, and me like literally singing the words of the song while I'm playing at the same time. All these little things, they kind of add up, and that makes people be like, whoa, this is different, because like if you just kind of be off to the side, even that passion and that energy you play with off to the side, I find that it wasn't doing the job all the time. There were some events where I did where they didn't go the way I wanted, and like I just didn't get a good response from people off to the side, or some even like but you learn from your mistakes and you learn how to get better. There's like some where like I literally would play for 2 hours, and it was for like a big corporate event, and I felt like nobody even listened once, and then I felt bad, but I learned from that. I then learned to walk around, play with backing tracks is a big thing too, and then amplifying myself, playing with a microphone so that I can be heard easier and stuff. There's all kinds of things you learn along the way.
Yeah, when you play those events where you're like, oh, like no one's listening, and especially when you're playing for 2 hours, like that's a long period of time. Yeah. Are you trying, like, are you adapting on the way, like the first couple of songs you do, and you're like, not seeing, okay, like what can I do different?
For sure. I make some quick changes, like I just did a corporate event at the Manitoba Museum like a few weeks ago, and the first bit I could feel that people were all very chatty, which is great. It was just supposed to be background music anyways. Okay. And I was enjoying myself still too, but it just wasn't the response that I was used to getting for a while. So then I quickly switch over to my wireless speaker, and then I start walking to the crowd, and then people are going, oh, what's this now? All of a sudden, I was coming right up to you. I wasn't expecting that. People start getting on their phones and different things. So adapting on the fly is something that I think keeps the job very, very interesting and very fun. You always kind of have to adapt to any scenario.
Is that your ideal situation? Like you walk around and immediately people pull out the phone.
Yeah, it's just, I'm doing good. I feel
got
it's a
the
good
clip.
feeling. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I love to be very mobile if I can. And then I like to now when I perform, like currently, like I like to do a mix where I might do the first half or the first 30 minutes really slow and romantic stuff, or classical even, like Ave Maria or I don't know if you know what that is, or some different operas and stuff like that.
Sure.
And me being a bit more stationary, and then the second half, then switching over to my Livin' La Vida Loca and Sway and Bruno Mars, The Weeknd, and playing these things that people recognize, and then it gets both aspects kind of done.
What's the trends right now in the world of like music, classical music, things like that? Is that do you see it being more prevalent, less prevalent, certain things going on? Like
it's tough to say. I would say I think orchestras is something that people always want to go to because there's so much history behind it. But however, I think that pop music is still becoming very dominant with violin because people are seeing how much views and attention you can get from doing a cover of The Weeknd or something like that on violin. And it gets a big response more than I would if I was to do Mozart something,
I think over the pandemic, I came across this guy who was like doing a similar setup, but like the ukulele. Yeah. And he got into the rap scene of doing ukulele. I don't remember the guy's name.
Einar Banks.
Yes, Einar Banks, right? And just something simple, like, instrument, is an instrument and he's good at it. And then just adding a touch of like, oh, I know that song. Yeah. Or like, and to the world of rap and the kind of music that I listen to. I'm like, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I can play the ukulele. Yeah. I can't, but I could try, right? I could try. Yeah. And so do you see that crossover happening? And is that like the secret sauce almost? Yeah. To getting a lot more people to
just dipping your foot in other genres, I think is a very important thing to do, especially as an instrumentalist. That's in 2021 again, like that's when I started getting a lot more busy too, is I was then that's when I finally started experimenting with playing along with Elvis's voice or playing along with Ed Sheeran or The Weeknd or recording a video of me doing blinding lights and stuff like that. And that's when I started getting a lot more response on videos, and also when I'd play for a crowd of people at an event too.
You mentioned like the strings. I want to get into
of course string. Yeah,
like is this an expensive hobby or something for people to get to?
I've seen some violins on Amazon. You can get a violin bundle with a bow, strings, an extra set of strings, rosin, a shoulder rest, a case, all for like $200. Okay. So for a violin and everything it gives you, that's a pretty good deal. Gotcha. It might not be the best sounding violin. Sure. But I have some students that have violins like that, and it really comes down to the player. And then it's just like those more expensive violins kind of let you enhance. But it's an expensive hobby in a sense if you want to make a career out of it.
Yeah, this is going to be a naive question here, but is there different types of violins?
Oh, of course, yeah.
And what are those types, and what differentiates those?
The varnishes on the wood, all the different stuff. Like this is a Ming Jiangsu model. Okay. And I got this in 2012, but I did try 10 different kinds of violins. So it's a Chinese brand, and I tried German ones, I tried French ones, and I had I remember when I was purchasing this violin when I was 12 or 13. My mom was purchasing at the time. Okay. But we brought 10 violins home with different kinds, all sounding different. And because I was wanting an upgrade, and we were gonna get one, and we were driving these 10 violins, and we're thinking like, this is worth more than our car. 10 violins are out. They ranged in price all the way from $3,000 all the way to $30,000. Wow. And this one was my mom paid $3,500 when I was 12 at the time, and it's worth I think $6,000 or something like that now.
Does a $35,000
$3,500.
Oh, sorry.
That'd be an upgrade eventually, maybe someday. But yeah.
But can you go up to like those 30 grand?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. They go in the millions even.
And so, how do they sound different? Like, or do they just? Is it the hype around it?
Yeah, or Stradivarius violins. If you ever want to do some research on those, those are like the ultimate recipe. And because there's no one's been able to kind of replicate that same recipe from that 1800s and stuff like that. And there's only so many of those in the world, which is why they're worth so much. There's some very famous violinists that play on Stradivarius violins, and I mean, they sound beautiful the way they play them. But I mean, also I've adapted to my violin, I feel like, to make this one sound beautiful. And, you know, this one compared even to some of those really higher priced ones that I tried, I still preferred this one. And even I took it to some WSO, Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra musicians, and they did like some blind tests without them actually knowing the prices. And a lot of them actually picked this one.
Wow.
And so that's the one I ended up going with when I was 12, and it's been by my side since.
That's crazy. And you mentioned it went up in value?
Yeah, it went up in value.
How does that work?
Well, just with inflation, but also just being taken care of, being played. You know, even some of those $1 million violins, like the people that play those, they didn't actually necessarily pay for them. Sometimes they've been lent out to them from museums or whatever, because they don't want it sitting behind glass. They want it to be breathing and being played.
Damn. So the more you kind of play it, like depending on what it is, like it adds value to it.
I'd say so, as long as you're taking care of it.
Yeah.
And I need to take it for cleaning, which is what I'm going to be doing soon. You get it, so you can see there's some grime stains along the side here and stuff like that from sweating on the violin, and things like that. Rosin stain, that's what lets the bow grip the string really well. You put rosin on your bow. Cool. And so he's going to do a polishing of that to make it look brand new again.
Are you sweating buckets when you're doing these events?
The longest I've played for an event was 7.5 hours.
Straight?
Yeah, pretty much. I took a break to eat in the middle, but I was having so much fun and adrenaline playing for that event. And there's been other events like that, like some for 5, 4, 6, and you know, and like I've when they're like keeping me around, I'm like, you know, it's gonna be a bit pricey keeping me around this long. They're like, oh yeah, no, we're good, we're loving it, we just keep going. And I'm following them around like the Pied Piper or whatever, like all following them around everywhere, getting them dancing all the way till 3 a.m. or whatever for their little party and stuff like that. And I'm taking requests all night.
Wow.
And they you know, and so I'm sweating buckets sometimes for those big events, especially when I get into it, like this is called the fingerboard, that black part here, the fingerboard, and that whole fingerboard will be wet sometimes when I'm drenched, but it's a great feeling. I just feel, you know, exhilarated while I'm performing, and the fact that I'm entertaining this many people with my violin.
Yeah, is it tiring? It's like, are you like your fingers cramping up, or like your fingers?
Really, because like I said, since I did classical music growing up, that's where the difficulty kind of lied. And so when I'm playing that, then going from that stuff on playing that all my life to then just playing something like Dancing Queen and Senorita or whatever pop's trending songs and stuff like that. I could do that all day, you know. But playing those concertos all day would be a different story. My hand might start to
cramp. And then you got to keep the motion and the energy going. That's so crazy. 7 hours.
Right. I know, but it was fun. And like, you know, I'm taking requests all night, and I'm having then I have my big amp. So this is sometimes what I use is my mobile one. Okay. And I will tie that to my hip.
Okay.
And then I can walk around while playing. Gotcha. And then if I want to play for a bigger crowd of say 200 plus people, then I have a wireless mic that I attach onto the violin.
Cool.
And then I connect that with my amp, and then Bluetooth, and then I play the backing tracks, the karaoke tracks of the song I'm doing through the speaker while I'm playing my violin over top of that and playing the vocal line and getting people dancing. And so it makes the song more recognizable. That way.
So when you run to an event, like what's your standard setup? Is it that with the...
I'd say so. I come with everything equipped. So I bring everything just in case. These have been, again, like learning experiences where I showed up with just that small speaker and that thing was not enough, you know, and then I feel bad the whole night because it's not ideal for me. I want to make sure everyone's entertained, everyone can hear me if they want to, and just wasn't fitting the vibe with that small one because it was really loud for 250 people or so. And but so I always come with my big amp and microphones, everything equipped. And then there's been sometimes where I'd planned to use the big one, and then this one worked just fine because it was a bit more of like a relaxed vibe, even though there's 200 people, everyone's sipping tea, so I'm not trying to blast their eardrums out with that. You know,
how do you differentiate your playing style based on the vibe that you're in? Like something more, okay, like this is a wedding versus like a funeral. Like how are you, like, those are two different vibes that like, well, especially my mind just goes like at a funeral, like it's great, it's sweet, but like you want to obviously respect and
of course,
and
I wouldn't pull out Despacito over there, you know.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it'd be pretty wild, hey?
Yeah.
But you know, I really I can play to the room. If each kind of different event has its own kind of vibe, and like portion of a wedding, like pre-ceremony, I stick to a lot more slower romantic songs and stuff like that, and just relaxed music that's getting people kind of in the mood for a wedding and stuff like that. And then during cocktail hour, once people are having drinks and wanting to dance and they're all socializing, then I speed things up and go to a Michael Bublé vibe. And then dinner, I might do a bit of a mix of both. But yeah, so I really play the crowd.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to play certain things at a certain place.
Yeah.
What's the difference? So when someone's booking you, like, is it their musical entertainment, or is there something else or backing or like a DJ or something?
So it really depends on the event. There's been sometimes where I've been the main entertainment and I'm like the main focal point over dinner or their cocktail hour or whatever. But then sometimes I've done some where it was like a mix between me and a saxophone player, like a duo there, or sometimes like then me and the DJ are taking turns, you know. So it can differ on the event for sure.
Is there like competition between string instruments and like classical and like, you know, like a violin versus what's the bigger one?
Oh, the cello.
The cello, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's competition. I think the way I think of it is maybe different people would get different answers, but I think, you know, everyone's here for their own goals. Everyone's paving their own way,
of course,
and it's like that, figuring out things for themselves and stuff as they go. And
can you look at a cello and be like, oh, you're a cello player? Like,
look at
someone and be like, yo, you're a cello player for sure. You're not a violinist.
No, not necessarily. I have to hear them play, but you know, but if they gave it a whirl at each one, I'm sure I could tell. Yeah.
The reason I asked is because we had a professional bowler on the thing, and so she explained the difference between a 5-pin and a 3-pin bowling.
Yeah.
To my man, it's bowling.
Yeah.
But, you know, but obviously there's a difference between, 5-pin and 10-pin bowling.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's like something very niche and like something that, in my mind, it's just bowling.
Yeah.
But, you know, that world of, especially if you're in that world, you understand there is a difference between certain things and certain genres. Obviously, a violin and cello, two different instruments. But still, like, is there something particular in the violin world that you learned once you got in that the average person doesn't know?
I think just like I was saying before, adapting to whatever situation, and I think that goes for anything with music. I think that's what's allowed me to find some success already, is really just being fearless in the sense and trying out new things, not being worried about if this gig is for me or whatever. Like there's a lot of opportunities when I was younger that I wish I took, you know, or like playing for a school talent show and things like that. But I wish I had taken a lot of those things. I only wonder if that would have led to more opportunities now.
What were some of those that you passed up on?
Yeah, like playing for the talent show, playing, what else? I can try to think now, like playing for different restaurants. It's like that, just because I did not know if I felt comfortable enough entertaining a crowd yet. And now I'd take them in a heartbeat. Now it's like, only times I've had to pass up opportunities is because I'm booked already.
You're booked, Was it, there's a certain area or a time when you like regretted not taking those opportunities and you're like, oh, I wish I could have done that, or man, I just didn't like, was the only reason you didn't take those because you didn't feel ready, or was there something else?
Well, I think it was just that I was just too shy at the time, you know. Like growing up and stuff like that, you know, I think everyone deals with sometimes with some bullies here and there, whatever, and just worrying about what other people think a lot was something that I thought about. And so when I was younger, and so then that's why I feel like I passed up on a lot of those opportunities. I was trying to be a bit too normal in a sense.
Did people make fun of you for playing violin?
Not this to make fun of me, but you know, like I've had the person when I was younger, like say, well, that's a gay thing to do, or and stuff like that. And so I remember like just hearing if someone ever joked around about me playing the violin, it kind of threw off my vibe a bit, and where I wanted to hold off a bit on playing for peers in a sense, or whatever, worried about if I'd see a friend of mine or at a performance and stuff like that, if they would think any different.
What about now?
Oh, now I don't care. No, I do. I did a Bison's game recently, like playing O Canada, and that turned out great. That was all good. I was a bit nervous for playing the national anthem, but now I want to do it again. I'm in talks, hopefully doing the Jets games and stuff like that eventually.
Yeah,
the big goal.
And you know, I think a lot of people can relate in that sense of when you're especially like in high school or wanting to almost fit into a crowd that other people's opinions impact so much of
100%.
what individuals do.
Yeah.
Now, like myself, you like we think about it like, oh, we were stupid.
Yeah.
Like why did you care that Timmy or whoever this person was down on? The only reason that person was probably down on me is because that person didn't have anything going for them.
Exactly.
But in the moment, it is very hard. And we've had our stints as well personally, and like even as a show, we've had our stints of like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
like, you're sitting in a room with not like you start another pod. Okay, cool. But like now we're doing cool events.
Yeah,
we're doing better.
Exactly.
Better.
Growing. Exactly.
Was there a moment where do you have a moment that sticks out that like was a full circle there? Man, like that person didn't believe in me, or this person was doing something, but like that same person shows up again, or the world comes away. What goes around comes around as well. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
What were you like feeling when people were almost like not supportive of it?
Yeah, I just kind of, that's what I was saying, like around that 13 to 16 year old time, that's where I kind of lacked a bit of my practice, and therefore that's partly why I wasn't ready for university by the time to get accepted, because I didn't really want to practice too much at that time. But then once I started teaching, and that started something new, where then, realizing I could make a career with this, and, and that's where it led to.
Was there a moment during that time that you thought, I may never pick up a violin ever again?
Not necessarily. I had always stuck with the violin and still posting videos and stuff like that. But I'd say that the ambition was a lot lower in those years. I just focused on making friends, being sociable in school, getting homework in on time, playing sports, different things at that time.
And then what changed?
What changed? Like, I'd say getting serious about me getting to the music faculty. But then what changed the most, I'd say, was around that 2021 time, 4 years ago, after COVID. Then that's when I started experimenting with new genres and playing for crowds and really having fun, entertaining people.
Did COVID have an impact on the thing, or was everything just kind of went remote?
That was around the time I left the music faculty there. It was, I didn't feel like I was getting a full benefit there, but it gave me an opportunity to kind of step back and try out new things with my violin that I wouldn't have before.
In the world of like I'm trying to think of like, how I'm watching the NBA finals right now, but
Me too.
and they're like, oh, this is not traditional, or like this is the basketball purists almost. Yeah. Is there a violinist purist or pure people who are very like traditional in the terms of violin, like violin should only be played for certain things, or it should only be this way? Is there
I'd say there's people out there. I'd say for sure. But it's to each their own. Each has their own opinion, and some I might not dare ever play Shape of You or something like that. But realistically, I find that that's what's led to me being so busy, is exploring those other genres, doing songs that people know, and just being very entertaining to watch.
Is there anything that you won't play on violin?
No, I don't think so. I've done
That's the craziest things you've done on violin.
See what kind of...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you recognize a bit of that?
Yeah.
Okay. 50 Cent on Post Malone,
Damn.
Whatever people want, It's a universal language in a sense, and where I think doing those different genres is whatever speaks to other people, that's what they're gonna want to hire more.
And then you've also delved into the world of making your own music too.
Yeah.
Can you explain that? How you got into that? What led to that? Why?
Well, that was something that it was just a goal of mine, that I wanted to have music on platforms and stuff like that. And so that just started last year, I'd say, because at all these events, I was always getting asked, like, where can I listen to? And so that and so I was like, it's finally time I get some stuff on Spotify and Apple Music. And so right now I don't have any original stuff. Like they're covers of popular songs of me playing, because that's what I'm usually performing at events. But I do want to eventually drift off and writing some of my own original music too, and adding on that on there.
Yeah, when you're playing, are you specifically just playing music, or like will you improvise a little bit and like?
I'll improvise a little bit. I mean, I don't want to go too far off of the track either, but like there in some of those tracks or whatever, there's definitely opportunity for me to do like a little bit of a solo or improvise or, do like but the thing is I try to do, because I've practiced it and performed it that way so many times where I don't want to drift off and do something completely different but again, don't want to be too worried about trying something new.
Yeah. How often are you practicing now?
Now, well, I'd say I don't consider the teaching practicing, because I'm teaching for about 4 hours a day. I'd say a good hour a day at least.
What does that look like?
Well, I'm definitely always covering like whatever classical pieces I'm working on, skill sharp, doing scales, like things like that. And then I'd say I mix between either doing that or I'll spend an hour like learning some new covers of what I might play at another event or whatever music that they might want for their wedding or whatever to walk down to. Or like I'm doing one in a coming week at the Fort Garry Hotel where I'm playing Bless the Broken Road by Rascal Flatts.
Cool.
And I'm doing some Bollywood style music too coming up for some big Indian weddings.
Yeah.
So I'm learning some music.
I was going to say like, that I've just been listening to the recent couple songs that came out from the Ed Sheeran album.
Oh yeah.
And like him crossing over into the world of Bollywood. And like,
right.
That's some of the music that I actually like grew up on was some of the Bollywood classics and like listening to movies and going through there.
Yeah.
That like, that's like that crossover is like I've seen it more and more in mainstream media and even rap and classical and like violin. Like I think that's also a natural integration that I've seen a lot. Is there certain like people that you look up to in the space?
Yeah.
That you're like, like I want to be like that person.
Yeah.
I want to play with them.
I'd say so. Do you know of the two cellos?
Don't.
So they kind of did some really cool stuff. Like they were doing the rock on the two cellos and doing like Thunderstruck and doing Nirvana and stuff like that on the cellos, which kind of revolutionized a lot of things, I think. And having people of that wouldn't ever go to a classical concert maybe, but were standing there rocking to seeing two cellos and stuff like that. And so those guys definitely made a big impact and stuff like that. Who else? Like I'm trying to think. Joshua Bell, he plays, his violin's worth about 14 million. You should check him out. Okay. I mean, he sweats like crazy when he plays, but that's not necessarily where I took inspiration to sweat. I can't help that. But he also plays with so much expression, and people love to watch him, not just because he plays beautiful music, but he's very interesting to watch too, which is something that kind of lit a bit of a light bulb in me, like you got to be interesting to watch, not just nice to listen to.
Do you mind if we dive into the business world of teaching? Like, and starting like your own kind of practice and what that looks like? When did you think like, oh, I'm going to charge for these things, or I'm going to like, people are going to pay me. They're going to pay me a decent amount to be able to learn. When did that transition happen?
That sort of was like, I launched it as a Kijiji ad when I was in high school. So when I was 16, and I had those 3 students for a whole year. And then it just kind of grew a little bit to eventually 10 to 20. And more people were hearing about me to learn. And
why did you start that? Was that just to get some extra money on the side? Or
well, it's just because I think a lot of people my age at that time at 16 were getting jobs in different places. And so I was like, I was looking around, like I was applying at different spots in the mall and stuff like that. But I thought of why not try teaching and sharing some of my arts, a way for I could share this with other people. And not only that, but the thing I really enjoyed about teaching too is it wasn't just as I enjoyed teaching, but because I was learning as we went too. I was learning more things, and I was explaining different techniques to them, like made me better understanding and explaining them too, and stuff like that. But then it just kept growing and growing, and then I kept marketing it and stuff like that. And now I'm at a spot, I think, where I'm very cool with the number of students I have, and I don't really market myself as teaching too much now because I'm so busy performing. But I like to still keep that balance. I still love sharing that with other people and teaching the next generation still. And so I hope that it eventually keeps growing. And like I said, I'm going to eventually launch those teaching workshops on a website and stuff like that, where people, if I don't have time to be teaching, they can still learn from me some way.
And again, it comes down to every business. I took the leap into entrepreneurship.
Nice.
Of like full time, I'm in my business. Let's try to figure it out. And I understand how hard it can be to be like, oh, I have to get people to come in. I need to get clients, but I also need to fulfill it. I need to make sure that I'm delivering a service that people want to come back, or people want to refer, or people want to, see what I am. And there's so many aspects of business.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Marketing, sales, everything.
Yeah.
Client relationships, so many things that sometimes when you just look from the outside, that person has a thing.
Yeah. You don't see all the behind the scenes stuff.
Don't understand.
Yeah. Like, I'm always, like whenever I do a performance or even teaching, if someone says that they love the way I teach or love my performance, I might ask them to write a review on my Google page.
Exactly.
Like, and then I try to get with students that I'm allowed to get to get a video of their progress or something like that, to share that as well. Not just for marketing, but just because I'm genuinely proud and I want to showcase how much they improved and stuff like that,
Did you think you were going to get the first 3 clients that you got? Or do you remember the rush that you got? You're like, oh, somebody's here.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Like, what do you mean? Like the first 3?
The first, when you put that Kijiji ad up, you're like, okay, I'm shoot my shot. Let's see if it goes in.
Yeah. I had a couple just from that Kijiji ad. And once I learned, I really liked the teaching, and I wanted to grow that and get more students. That's when I started going door to door and stuff like that. And I really grinded that, getting as many students as I could, that I could handle like in a day. And then before I knew it, I'm at like 20 a week or something like that. And it just kept building up. But I only started doing the concert like for my students like that, I'd say in 2021, the first time I did that.
And then, okay, so you mentioned the door to door. Is there any other strategies or things that you did to market your business or get your name out there?
Yeah, just giving my card wherever I went was something. Telling people, don't tell your friends, whatever. But yeah, I'd say that door to door, like it just brought me a few new ones, like I said.
Yeah. And then obviously the world of social media, just a different world, of course, like even post-COVID, before COVID, like to build a business these days, like that's step one almost these days too. When did you like get serious of like, okay, I'm going to start doing this social media thing. I'm going to start posting consistently and regularly.
For sure. I'd say a couple of years after I started teaching, rather than just becoming a Kijiji ad, I gave it a title. I called it Palm's Music Studio. And I showcased my students on there and just their progress. That was all it was. Or just, it was like almost like just a little hub to, showcase students that I had and it's like that. And just kept growing and growing. And now I'm more so just, I share it just on my main page. Kind of.
Do you remember the first like video or something that like we're like, I say this often, but when we first post our first episode, I remember getting 3 likes on a video.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I made it.
Yeah.
It's done. We're done. Exactly. Do you have a similar story like that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You go down to the bottom of the videos that I have on that page. So I only got like a few likes or whatever when I just started it.
Did you feel like you were top of the world? Did you feel like, okay, I'm on the right track here, I'm getting somewhere?
Yeah, something. I was just paving my way. It's just another stepping stone in the process. There'll be more content to put out later. It's like that. I'm not in a rush to all of a sudden get 1,000 likes on something. It's just there to be there,
You mentioned the dream of like eventually one day selling on MTS and like having a crowd of like coming to see Allan. Have you picturized or visualized what that would look like?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've thought about it, and like I'd play the same energy I play now for when I'm playing for a cocktail hour and stuff like that. I mean, and then I can just imagine like, having my own band that I would travel with or having behind me. So I'm not just playing with just a generic backing track or whatever. So it's very live and still moving lots, still walking up and down the stage, getting people moving, seeing people entertained. It's all a big goal and
Is the world, and this might just be the way that I picture it, in the world of opera and the world of classical music, it's more of a sit-down concert, is it not?
It can be, but lately, for all the events I've done over the last year and a half, none of them have been really sit-down concert. I plan to play something at my own student recital, which is a sit-down concert, just because it's a very like, I want everyone to listen and see the students' hard work and stuff like that. And so that one is, but all the events that I've done, they've all been like a cocktail hour of some sort or a fundraiser event where people are coming in to talk and stuff like that. But no, you're right. That's a lot of them.
It's a different world, right? Like, most of the concerts that I've been to have been just like, oh, get up and vibe. And I can just imagine like the visualization that I have of not being in the space is like, okay, like, very posh, you're sitting down, you're enjoying, you're enjoying the world of, that music.
Yeah.
And that I assume has a different viewing experience than something that is a lot more upbeat, and especially if you're going up to people and you're going up to, it's a different vibe.
It is a different vibe. Yeah, for sure. Like when I see people and they're having fun and drinking wine, and I'm walking up to them and I'm smiling at them, and they're going, oh, look at this, and they're getting their cameras out, and or they're singing along to whatever song I'm doing.
Yeah.
Or just seeing them want to get up and move and stuff like that. It's always something that feels really good.
Are you adding singing to the violin as well?
Some it depends on the song. Like there's like a little riff. Like I can't. It's pretty tough to sing the full song.
Exactly.
But like for I don't know if I'm doing Elvis, I'd go like "Falling in Love," like as while I'm playing the violin at the same time.
Would you say that, like, singing is also one of your strong suits as well?
Not really necessarily one of my strong suits, I'd say,
but something you can do.
But yeah, to match the tone of my violin, match a note, is because they gave us some training for that in the music faculty as well.
Yeah, and do you see that as a something that you would do for 7 hours? Or?
No, not singing. I think my vocal cords would be pretty stressed out. So definitely big props to those singers out there. The chords.
Yeah. I could probably fake violin.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah,
I feel like I could do that. I feel like that's a skill that I could eventually master.
Fake violin.
I could fake a violin. The expression. I say this about DJ, and I have tremendous respect for the craft. But we've been to a couple of DJ events, and like I can get up there and jump.
Yeah.
Like if there's already a track, or if there's already something, I can get up there and just like get the track going, which I feel like I could probably do for violin too, but without playing it.
Yeah.
But again, tremendous respect to the world. But that's crazy, man. Like, if for anyone that's trying to get into the world of, let's say, playing violin, what is something that you wish you knew before you got in?
Playing violin, hey, just to enjoy the journey. It's a big thing, but to something that I wish that I knew before I started playing, I don't know. I don't really know what I had to expect. I never thought that I'd be performing like this kind of style for events and stuff like that, and seeing people wanting to get up and dance, like, because all through when I was around 13 to 17, my performances were just kind of off to the side, and I'm just playing kind of classical stuff. And so don't have crazy expectations for something. Just enjoy as you go, and enjoy the process of doing it, and you'll find your way as you go.
Do you have a memorable event that comes to mind?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's been quite a few recently. I did I get the name of the fundraiser, but I did it. It was at the Human Rights Museum, and it was a cocktail hour, and they had me on like an 8-foot tall platform, so that everybody could see me as they're walking in. The painting one was nice because like my music was like influencing the style of her painting as she's going along. But the weddings, everything kind of poses its own new thing.
Do you know who the painter was?
Rachel
Lancaster.
Yeah.
That's
really had her on the show. Oh, awesome.
I had a feeling because I was like, I do remember her doing something at the Human Rights Museum, so I wasn't really sure. Yeah, Rachel's amazing. Rachel's killing it. So yeah, so she's been on the show as well. And like, again, I guess against both of you guys, like, experts in your craft. Right, like,
but I mean, even then, like, I don't want to think of it as an expert yet, because I still feel like there's so much left to learn, and I want to conquer new areas and try new things. Like, I want to eventually get into the EDM stuff. I was fiddling around with it, and I would try to figure out as I go, or playing for clubs, or just different styles, different crowds.
Yeah,
I want to keep experimenting, so I mean. Yes, I feel like I well achieved, but I want to keep having a new bar to set, Yeah,
it's a piece of like composition of music that you would say is like the hardest composition you've ever successfully played?
The one I recently did is so I'll just play a second of it here. It's like from the Brook Violin Concerto. It's like. It's just so that's pretty. Thank you. Yeah, and so I completed that one recently, and that's considered, I think, at the grade 10 level. And there's a couple levels just after that still for even harder music and hard classical music. And so
wow,
keep going.
I was watching your fingers. Those were moving.
Yeah.
They were moving. Damn. Can you play as we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure.
What's some of like a popular pop song that always gets people being like, oh,
I'd say Despacito, Careless Whisper, Bella Ciao. Can you
want to do it? Yes, please. Good. Yeah.
So I got
a full free tour.
Example of so like if I put my
So just walk us through what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So right now I'm just connecting my speaker to my phone, and that's going to play the karaoke track of Careless Whisper, and then I'm just going to play along with that. And so then normally when I'm playing, I would have that attached to my hip, and then I'm walking around serenading different people and so like that as I go.
Big serenader, hey?
Yeah.
Hide your girls. I got you. Okay, let's go. Yeah, that's the idea. Let's go. Hey.
Guys, thank you. Woo! Thank you. Before we finish, do you mind if I show you a little snippet of my next song?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Much, guys.
Absolutely. What's it called?
It's called Historia de un Amor.
Okay.
And so it's it's known to be, I think it's the world's most translated song, actually.
Okay.
Translated, I forget how many times, but it's a very romantic piece. And so this will be coming out Spotify in the next couple weeks.
Sure.
And
what's it called again?
Historia de un Amor.
Historia de un Amor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very romantic piece, and it always seems to get good reception. I play this at dinners and different events, and one of the things I like most about this piece is also just the instrumentation. You can hear, I got in the track, you hear guitar, there's piano, trumpets, a string section.
Wow.
That.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a snippet of it.
Yeah, let's go.
You guys, thank you.
You go. Yeah, that's romantic, brother. That's romantic.
Yeah, me too, man. I love the instrumentation of it, and and then I when recording it, I did quite a lot of different little ornaments and decorations with my fingers, like whether it be called a trill, where I'm flicking with my finger there, or lots of vibrato or slides. Anything sound even more romantic as I'm playing it.
Damn, I don't know if I. Do you mind if I put you on the spot here? Sure. If I were to play you a song that I maybe I don't think you probably would have heard it. It's an Indian song.
Okay.
It does have a violin in it.
Okay.
And
what's it called?
Mandoon Dene.
I don't think I know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm learning Terhawale right now for a wedding. I don't know that.
So let's hey, we can always cut it if it doesn't, or we'll keep it, or we'll keep it. But this is from a movie. There's an artist called Arjit Singh.
Okay,
so
sounds familiar.
He's a very popular.
He was in Winnipeg
Yeah. And so very great vocalist. And there's a riff in here. He has a lot of the romantic love songs.
Okay.
He's written quite a lot of them. So I'm gonna play this for you, and then feel free to do whatever you do. Wait. There's a violin part coming up. All right.
Something like that.
Let's go. That's crazy. That's crazy. And you did not know the song.
No,
never. That's crazy. It's like a magician out here. Holy Hose Perlman out here. Yeah. That's great. Wow, man. Respect. That's an insane talent that you have.
Thanks, man.
We love to end off the pod with one question, but before we get to that, is there anything that if you left here, you're like, man, I wish Robin had asked me that. I wish I had touched on that. I wish the people knew a certain thing about the world that you live in.
Not that I can think of right now, but I'm sure there might be something cross returning in my sleep tonight. I'm thinking that might be something, but nothing I can think of right now. I was really happy I got a lot out there.
Hey, I appreciate that. Okay, last question for you. If you had any advice for someone that wants to do exactly what you do, what would that advice be? What would that piece of advice be?
To do exactly what I do.
They want to play. They want to perform.
I'd say be unique in their own style and like really try to do something different in that sense. Like for me, it was like walking around and entertaining that way and stuff like that. And like, different people will benefit from standing out in a sense, doing different things and be, put yourself on the audience side, and think about, what they would think. Yeah, would they be entertained?
Can I push back on that a little bit? Like when you say be unique, it's hard to come up with a creative aspect of something. Sometimes you got to follow other things to get there. Is there anything specific that someone can do, like an actual step to be like, okay, try something and then maybe switch it up a little bit? Or how does someone find their own lane in a world where there's a lot of lanes already been out there?
I think just practicing one and getting yourself out there to try new things, and like you said, like learn from your mistakes and learn from times that where you felt uncomfortable performing, to then learn from that in a sense. I think that's a big thing.
All right, Allan.
I forgot to talk about basketball.
Let's go. Let's talk about the world outside of violin, because there is a world outside of violin. You're a basketball guy. You're also a model.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I love modeling. It's fun, man.
Can you talk about, so outside of violin, what are some of your hobbies? What are some things that you also are like in that world? I'm like, when I touch on that.
I love playing basketball. I'd say I play about 4 times a week, like different runs, different open gyms. I played in the Peg City League this past year. Won the championship, right? And in our division. And then, no, I love running. I love lifting weights and living an active lifestyle. But yeah, modeling, I really enjoy that too. That's actually led to me getting violin jobs, actually, believe it or not. Some people that when I modeled, and then I met some influential figures or made some connections, and they asked what I do, and I give my card or whatever, and then they that led to them booking me for something. And
I could see you model, because when you're playing the violin, those eyebrows, just moving them eyebrows.
They move lots. They go crazy. They have a mind of their own.
Is that something that you are intentionally doing?
No, I'm just getting into it, man. I'm not trying to force anything. I think if you force it, it can look a little bit funky in a sense, and I think it can look a little bit corny, maybe in a sense. That's my own opinion, but I never force it. I really just get into it and I try to make great music and feel something from it and make other people feel what I'm feeling.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, rewind it back a couple minutes. You'll see two things that I noticed when the things played. The fingers going crazy, but then also the expression that you're talking about, it like adds a whole different world. Like
it does.
The eyebrows are doing like ways, and I was like, okay, this man knows what he's doing. I pulled out my phone just so you can. Awesome. Cool. The reaction that you get, and that it's something instinctual too. Like I was just like, oh, I gotta get this on video. I may never look at the video ever again. I gotta get this on video. Well, Allan, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you all the best. For anyone that wants to get violin lessons or even needs a violin anywhere in their life, whether you're proposing to a partner or you're getting married, whether you're just having a cocktail, hit this man up, Allan Palmer. What's the full website?
It's going to be called Allan Palmer Violinist, but they can just DM me on Instagram at Allan_Palms.
Cool.
Yeah, simple as that.
Allan, thank you so much. I probably will never get in the world of violin, but I appreciate
If you ever want to try, let me know. I'll get something going.
I appreciate you spending the time. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next week. Peace.
That's college.
Thank you, brother. That's sick, man.
Awesome. Good.